marks the hilula of a really great rabbi. His name was Rabbi Yakov Hadad Z'tl. Now, it's a common name with the family Hadad. We've covered about 6 or 7 Hadad rabbis with the last name Hadad in this series already. So, and we covered one already with the name Rabbi Yakov Hadad. So I'm not too sure if they are directly related or not, but be it as is may, we are covering this great rabbi inside the series today. I believe he was born in the year 1872. We call that Taf Reish Lamed Bet, and he passed away in the year 1949 in Taf Shin Tet in Tet Zayin Sivan. He was a great rabbi. His mother's name was Rabbanit Mazala, and his father's name was Harab Rachamim Hadad. And he was born in the island of G'rba in Tunisia, respectively. Remember, G'rba, Tunisia, was, let's say, a huge center place of Torah learning, especially in North African countries and especially in Tunisia, respectively. Now, it's interesting. He would learn Torah at a young age under the auspices of a really famous rabbi, a rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions before, Harab Yosef Berebi, who was, I think, one of the great Dayans, the judges in the city of G'rba. He will go in and delve inside, let's say, the great wiseness within regards to Kabbalah learning over there, and very much would, I think, correspond eventually with other great rabbis in Israel, including the famous Rabbi Ovadia Hodaya, who was part, I think, of the famous Yeshivat Mukobalim, Oz V'Adar, a place we've spoken about on various occasions before in this series, and also of Yeshivat Porat Yosef in Jerusalem. Remember, let's say, Yeshivat Porat Yosef was like a bastion of Torah learning among the Sephardi congregation, the people at that point in time. It's interesting, his father very much was Rav Rachamim Hadad, was a great person, and I believe we mentioned him on various occasions before inside the series. He would actually really save up a lot of money in order to make Aliyah to the land of Israel. He had a special box, and constantly, remember in Tunisia, it was very Zionistic in the let's say the fact that many of the rabbis had really encouraged Aliyah, to emigration to the land of Israel, and to come to Eretz Israel, and they had special boxes in many of the houses where they would save up money and really eventually make their way to Eretz Israel at a later stage in time. Rabbi Yakov Hadad's wife's name was Rabbanit Sarah. However, I believe she passed away in the year 1920. This was, at that stage in time, he himself would have been about 48 years of age. He would later on get married to Rabbanit Yasmina. I'm not too sure the exact year that would be, but he would get married later on. And yeah, it's actually interesting. He would set up a printing press. Remember, the publishing and printing was very great at that point in time. There was a lot of books being produced, especially among the Rabbanim in Tunisia. He would partner up with Rav David Idan. Remember, we've spoken about many of the great rabbinic structure of the Idan family, respectively, over there. They would have B'chomat Asok. I think this was in the, let's just say, in the main Merkaz area, the trade area in the island of G'rba. And that's, at that point in time, I think there was many of the great rabbis from North Africa would have published their books at that point in time, and would really do a huge amount in regards to publishing. And that would become, let's say, I think at later stage, if I'm not mistaken, it was in the commercial center, city center of G'rba, where many of the great, it wasn't just people from G'rba that would print their books there, from the various North African countries, I believe possibly in Algeria and Morocco, they would actually come there. I think at a later stage, if I'm not mistaken, he'll become the sole owner of this printing press. Now, it's actually, he would study by Torah by day, and by night he was great Iloi within regards to Torah learning, absolutely phenomenal, and really, he didn't spend so much time on commerce. He tried to avoid it and tried to delve in Torah as every second possible. He was known as a very humble rabbi, and it's actually reported over here on, I'm actually reading over the Hayomi website, that many of the books that he would actually print, I think because of his humility, he would actually avoid writing his name actually on there respectively. That's what he would try to do. He didn't want, obviously, to get like that, all the accolades and the recognition, because it just shows his huge humility within regards to it. He would have descendants, children that were really Yirei Shamayim and great people in of itself. And it's actually interesting. I believe Chacham Yeshua Hadad would later on fill his place would follow his footsteps as a rabbi or take on his position so that we had. Now he passed away on the 16th of Sivan in English year 1949. That would have been about a year after actually the formation of the Medinat Yisrael respectively. He was a great rabbi of his time. Rabbi Hadad was a very popular name both in Tunisia, the family name, and I believe also in Yemen, if I'm not mistaken. Now, among the books that he would have printed, it includes Go'alei Chai, which has various different perushim on the Derech HaKabbalah and on the Haggadah of Pesach, the Passover liturgy. And that would come out, I believe, in the year 1925. Tafresh Pehei. Then we had Seb Yaakov, the Achiezer, this was under books, that came out in the year 1936. And the Sefer Mahalal El, I believe. This was on the book of Psalms of Tehillim. That would come out in the year 1951, a couple of years after he passed away. Chiburav Vayechi Yaakov. This was a book on the Torah, Nevi'im and Ketuvim, as we say, abbreviated to the Tanakh. Vayeshkem Yaakov. This was on the Tefillah, on the prayer in of itself, within regards to prayers. The Sefer Chalukah D'Rabbanan B'Lovshim V'Adronim Al Masechtot, and the book called Achi Tov. This was, I think, left over in a manuscript form. This actually book was in of itself. So very, very interesting. These were great books of that specific point in time. So I'd recommend everyone to learn more within regards to this. Now let's explore a couple of the highlights within regards to the books, which he had, especially from the Achi Ezer book. I think that was actually through his grandson, Rabbi Hadad would actually write, Melamed lachabot esh hamachloket hamatchila l'yitlaheb b'shtika. This was one of the teachings he would have inside the book, a very nice teaching. Another teaching was Melamed lesefer b'yitzad Mitzrayim le'emet ha'geula b'lavano. Geulat olam. This actually featured in, I believe, the book of the Go'alei Chai. This was on the 40th page, and that was printed in J'rba, respectively. And then there was another book, which is Melamed la'aroch shulchan la'aniyim shu tamid al shulchana. This is another interesting in Go'alei Chai, once again, on the 26th page. And then page number 80, I believe, in the book Go'alei Chai, also Melamed shirdu l'Mitzrayim al da'at shyu muchanim lekabbalat Torah. Really great teachings encompassing, especially time of Mount Sinai and the years inside the desert when Yisrael were actually traveling. So it's going to be his Hilula over here. He was a great rabbi of his time. I'd recommend everyone to learn more about him. There's a lot of information. And to learn more, we covered already in this series, possibly 150 great Tunisian rabbis from yesteryear over here inside this series, which is absolutely phenomenal achievement. Over here, he was a great rabbi, I think, of that at that point in time. We could really say it's a day actually where there was many hilulot of many great rabbanim. So that is very, very important. He passed away in 1949. We're talking about 76 years ago from the time of recording. And there's actually a tunisia.co.il website which actually examines the rabbinic dynasty of the Hadad family from Tunisia, respectively. There was many great rabbis from the Hadad family. If I'm not mistaken, included Rabbi Aaron Bar Chai Hadad. Also the Rabbi Shalom Bar Aaron Hadad, Rabbi Chaim Bar Shalom Hadad, Rabbi Kamos Bar Moshe Hadad, Rabbi Nisim Bar Kamos Hadad, Rabbi Moshe or Musa Bar Nisim Hadad, Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Nisim Hadad, very great rabbi. There was Rabbi Machluf Bar Kamos Hadad, who was great Talmud Chacham, I think, of his point in time. And there was Rabbi Benjamin Minyani Bar Machluf Hadad, Rabbi Menachem Bar Kamos Hadad. It's just a taster of some of the rabbis from the famous family of the Hadad family. Now, friends, we're a community here. We're learning about the great rabbis of yesteryear. If you descend from any of the great rabbis we're talking about, please let me know. I would love to hear more. If you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, we are nearing 7,000 subscribers, which is a phenomenal achievement. Please subscribe to the channel. If you feel anyone's interested in watching these videos, please share these videos to other people. Also, we're a community learning about the great North African rabbis of yesteryear over here. We're growing very, very fast. So wishing you all well. The Hilula here on the 16th of Sivan of the famous Rabbi Yakov Hadad. Don't forget to light candles in the great rabbi's memory. And watch over the previous videos we've covered in this series already, more than 1,000 videos. So friends, wishing you all a fantastic day. Take care and please subscribe.